Monte McNair was fired as the GM of the Sacramento Kings. We told you we'd take your phone calls at 1-800-920-1140 along with your texts and various chats on the YouTube page. And we'll give you the opportunity to communicate. That's really, in my mind, what I'd like to do today is a little bit of us sprinkled with a lot of your opinions. Jason, I believe we have Ishmael on the phone.
Yes, we do. Ishmael's joining us first this morning. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you?
Good.
So, just, obviously a really rough way to have the season end. We sort of saw this coming. As for McNair getting fired, I saw a lot of Kings fans on social media kind of celebrating that. I think we got to treat him with slightly more respect. I mean, he put together the best teams we've had here for a while, working under, I would say, difficult conditions under ownership, which I'm going to get to in a second. But just, him going out, Wes Wilcox going out so quickly after doing like a franchise-defining trade of De'Aaron Fox. I was warning about this before, that if their leash is this short where you're fired, before the buzzer even goes off in the last game of the year, should you have been trusted even with doing that sort of a trade? But I just want to really hope that fans can start looking at ownership. And I'm not saying in like a malicious, type of way, but this fan base is so great that it's almost impossible for it to get toxic. The city will do anything to support the players, the team. They really don't want to boo. They don't want to, get nasty or anything like that. We see other fan bases very quickly turn on their teams. And I think ownership has exploited that sort of unconditional love from the city and from the fan base, and has really taken that to what they've done with this team. I mean, the Mavericks is the perfect team to go out against, because 2 years ago, the Mavericks season wasn't looking that great. And they decided, because they didn't think they would be contenders, to tactically tank the end of the season to get a lottery pick, which they used on Derek Lively, who helped them go to an NBA championship. We were trading De'Aaron Fox. Our season was clearly not going to go anywhere. And we decided, no, we have to keep competing because the play-in is the ultimate goal. So we've almost certainly shredded any first-round pick we're going to have this year, for the rights to best-case scenario get swept by the Thunder. And this all comes from ownership. I mean, 2 years ago, and Carmichael, you tweeted this, we were a playoff team, almost 50 wins, best season in years. And we actually had cap space going into that offseason. We had about $30 million in cap space after some moves were made. And we ended up salary dumping Rashawn Holmes, costing us a first-round pick, and then only using our space to re-sign Barnes and, extend Sabonis and not actually really get after and build the team out the way it should have been, because ownership didn't want to spend that much. And as long as Vivek is the owner, and this is the cold realization that I think a lot of us have to get to, and if Vivek is still owning this team, there is a extremely low ceiling and low floor for this team, but not low enough because we won't tank. So it's really bleak. What we have to do, obviously, is tank this offseason, trade out who we can. Sabonis didn't cover himself in glory, but he has to get traded. He's been a great player, but he's got to go. Levine is obviously not going to be traded, but it would be nice if he was. And that's really the only direction we can go. But I sadly think it's much more likely we trade future picks to get another mid-level player and try to improve and secure a 7th or 8th seed next year than do what we're supposed to do. And that's really tear it down and build back up and throw minutes at Keon Ellis's and Devin Carter's and Keegan Murray's and that. But I'd just like to hear what you guys think about that. I think it's really time this fan base starts really chanting "sell the team" and pointing at Vivek, who, obviously he's a big part of the team being in Sacramento, but it's really time that we turn our attention to at least him publicly stating that he's going to take a step back from being involved in the team and like admitting that he's meddled and he's done certain things, and just saying like, hey, I'm going to be hands off. I'm going to bring in a GM, let them do their thing, let them pick a coach, and we're going to go from there. But if it's Vlade Divac and we're just going back to square one, then I really think it's time for this fan base to start mobilizing, which is really sad because it's obviously a terrible thing. And Vivek's ostensibly a nice guy. I mean, I like him. I don't hold him to the, contempt of, like, he's not like a Dan Snyder or something, but in terms of running this team, it's been atrocious. And yeah, last night was a really sobering night because the Mavericks looked more competent than us, and they were the most incompetent franchise of all time 24 hours ago.
All right. Thank you, Ishmael. Dave, I mean, there was a lot in there. I think a lot of what a lot of people feel, right? And in this one sense, I will say this about Vivek, that's one of the hardest things to do. You can fire your general manager, you can fire your head coach, you can change your players. It's not impossible to change things there, but that's a really difficult thing to do. And especially for anyone that's running things that's been successful, they want to think that they can do it right. That's kind of where we are, I think, is the core of what that call was by Ishmael, which was really good.
I think that's maybe a top 5 call I've ever heard on this station. And I think Ishmael should be commended, whether you agree with everything or not. There's a reason why he got all that airtime, because his thoughts were concise. I didn't think he was overly emotional or personal. It's a conversation I think a lot of people are having. A lot of people in the fan base are having. We're going to get into a lot of offshoots from that phone call throughout the program. Like I said, we have to ask very serious questions. Yeah. We have to have very serious conversations. It's not personal. I don't want to be mean. I think everybody can take a cue from Ishmael. This is a business, but it's one of the few, if any, businesses in which emotion is so involved and logic doesn't always dictate actions. Because why would anybody vote? If this was any other business, we would have stopped ordering cheeseburgers from it years and years ago and would have gone across the street to the other cheeseburger place. That's not how, unless you're a bandwagoner, and I don't even say that in a condescending way. I'm just saying, unless you have the ability to jump teams, and God bless you if you do, that's not how this works. You find your team, you love your team, you stick with your team through thick and thin. The problem is that there are things that go on as a fan that are completely out of your control, and they are stewarded by people that sometimes don't steward the best way. We're going to have conversations about Vivek Ranadive today. We're going to have conversations about his ownership, where it's at, and Ishmael talked about mobilizing the fan base. I know a little bit about mobilizing the fan base. And one thing I know more than anything is that the fan base has to be in that mindset. Not that they're ever going to speak as a hive mind, but the fan base has to be in that mindset. And to this point, I've never believed that they are in that mindset. Some are, extreme fans are. I'm beginning to see a little bit of crack in that armor. I'm starting to see that a lot of people, myself included, believe that the firing of Monte McNair, whether justified or not, is quite simply rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. So we will have that conversation. In the meantime, we will take a break. When we come back, it's our only break from Kings basketball today, ladies and gentlemen. A's rookie shortstop Jake